Welcome to the Irons United season 18-19 review with me, Luke, and I'm joined tonight by Richard Farston. How you doing, Rich? You all right?
Oh, all good, mate. All good, mate. Always a pleasure.
Sweet, isn't it? Right, well, I haven't been on many of these videos lately, and that might be a good thing. But I thought I'd come on tonight and just give my little two pennies worth for the season that we've just been witnessing. Of course, after our victory against Watford on Sunday. So, Rich, what was your opinion on that game?
Oh, look, it's a lovely end to the season. It's always good to get one over on Watford. They've had a really good season, in my opinion, and they've still got an FA Cup final to look forward to. So to turn them over at home was really good. I think it's always nice to end on a positive note, especially after what's been a bit of an up and down season for us. But yeah, I think definitely the red card had a big bearing on the game. I think 11v11 would have been a tough game for us, but luckily we took advantage of that. And to score 4 goals away from home, can't complain. And yeah, 10th place finish there and thereabouts. I think I have to accept it. It's not a bad finish. But I think, yeah, to beat
Yeah,
Watford, yeah, it's debatable. But I think
yeah,
to
yeah,
end on a
yeah,
good
yeah,
note
yeah.
always helps.
I'll give my opinion soon. But talking of the red card, did you think it was a red card? Do you think it was justified?
Oh, it's a difficult one, mate. I must admit, because Antonio's through on goal. There's no two ways about it. And when you're moving in that pace, any little clip, you're running the risk of getting sent off. I think the commentators said it was a bit harsh, which I can understand. At the same
True.
time, I can understand why a red card was given. They had a similar appeal against us a few minutes later in the game, which I didn't think was a foul at all. We got the ball. I think the ref got it spot on. So I'm kind of on the fence with it. I can see why the red was given. At the same time, I can kind of understand why Watford would be a bit annoyed by the call. I don't know what you thought of it, mate.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I saw like I was watching on the stream, so I saw like sort of one very quick replay. I managed to catch it, and I think it's just one of those where a lot of these decisions are based on um, real time events. So, for example, say like I don't know, like if there's genuine contact in slow mo, that could seem like a yellow card. That could seem like oh, no, rest made a decision.
Yeah.
But then it actually turns out that the referee's seen it a lot quicker, a lot faster. Split second, he's gone right. Okay, that's like a bad challenge. And it takes a lot of people, even professional pundits, about 3 or 4 different camera angles to decide, and even then they can't really get it together. So that's why I'm personally a big fan of VAR coming in next season. Hopefully, we see a lot of these. It's going to end a lot of debate, so a lot of chats on a Monday morning at work would be a bit more boring. But at least sort of the points out together. But what's your opinion on VAR, just quickly?
I think there'll still be quite a bit of debating, mate. I've seen VAR in the Champions League this season, for example, and I've had a massive debate game after game with my friends. I think it's great for the game. I really do. I just think it needs to be implemented properly. I'm not sure the people behind the scenes really know what they're doing as yet. But it's certainly going to help with the stonewall calls that we see referees get wrong week in, week out. So I think in that regard, it can only be positive. But I just think there's certain things that need tweaking, and perhaps the people that actually use VR need to be trained a bit better. Unfortunately, in football, there's so many grey areas all over. I mean, a rule's never black and white. It
Mm.
depends on the interpretation of the referee. But at the end of the day, I think VAR is going to be massive in making sure that those stonewall calls that you see, like for example, Callum Wilson against us last season with the handball,
Yeah.
where he scored and he was offside, VAR would immediately call that out, and the right call would be made. So I think in that regard, I'm all for VAR, I must say.
Yeah, I totally agree. By the way, I will say to anyone watching, listening, that I am suffering from a touch of man flu. I say a touch, it's like full blown. I'm not dying. I'm battling through it. So if my sound is a bit dodgy, it's me. It's not to do with the headphones or anything. But yeah, VAR is for me. It's a great thing. I think it's going to be finally. Look, technology changes. It's modern technology in the day, and when we're moaning about referees and linesmen and this, that, and the other, West Ham have had a number of decisions against them this season that could have gone our way
Yeah.
if VAR had been in use. And I think there's going to be teething problems, but then there is with anything. So hopefully, as we get used to it, it's going to take a bit of time. But I'm personally willing to give it all the time it needs. Going back to the game, obviously we won, which in the end was comprehensively 4-1, which is probably one of our best results this season. To be honest with you, I can't think of a better one. To be honest, scored 4 goals away from home, even though Watford obviously have got other things to worry about. But it's nice that we have won like our last 3 games of the season pretty comprehensively as well, as I said. But I just think, why couldn't we have done this throughout the season more? I mean, Tottenham away, okay, that's a great result, and that's a bit of a sort of a special occasion. But Southampton at home, Watford away, and the only time in the season where we seem to put a run together was December. But apart from that, we seem to be very inconsistent here, there, and everywhere. Do you think that next season, if we improve our consistency, do you think that we'll be a lot higher in the table, or do you think we'll be sort of where we are now? Because obviously the teams around us are going to, improve and get worse and whatever.
No, that's the thing, mate. You make a great point. I think what's killed us this season and what's been so frustrating for me as a West Ham fan is just our inconsistency.
Yeah, that's what's getting at.
I cannot put my finger on it. It's great that we've won our last 3 games of the season, and it's great that we went on that run in December. Fantastic. But why could we not do that against the smaller sides, the so-called smaller sides? And I hate saying that, but why we drop points against Brighton? Why we drop points against Cardiff? Why we drop points against Huddersfield? That's the massive question. I think 10th place, it's a decent finish. I think it's a decent platform for next season. In saying that, I look back on the season with a bit of disappointment at that inconsistency, because at the end of the day, we've only finished 5 points behind Wolves, who've technically had the season of their lives. I don't think we've had a brilliant season. I don't think we've had a great season. I think we've had an average season, I'll be honest. It just shows if we could just be a bit more flippant consistent, there's no reason why we couldn't have made Europa League this season. And that's a question I wanted to point to you, mate. What were your expectations going into the season, seeing the players we brought in, seeing the manager? What did you honestly expect? And looking at the 10th place finish, are you happy with that? Did you expect more? Did you expect less?
I expected a lot more. I'll be honest with you. The sort of the childish West Ham fan in me, you just sees everything, as glory, winning cups and all the rest of it. Thought, we could get, top 5, maybe try and push for top 4, But I was like, okay, right, blow your expectations, maybe 6 or 7 or something like that. And at one point in the season, it was quite a few points in this season. It was within our grasp if we just won the game that we needed to win, or here and there. Yeah. But we finished 10th, and the thing that gets me is that I've been seeing on Twitter and various people that I've spoken to since then that it's like, we finished 10th. It's been, we haven't been involved in the relegation battle. All said and done, it's kind of good that we've been in. We finished where we should be. I'm thinking, part of me thinks that, look, I have a chip on my shoulder for when we moved stadiums. That now we're in the Olympic Stadium, we should be busting a nut, busting a gut to get up, the higher echelons of the league and starting to really push on, go really far in cups and all this and all that. But it's these people just, I think it's one of them things. I think I used an analogy to someone else the other day. I was thinking, when you go to a funeral and someone's died and you go, they were kind of a nice person. Yeah. Looking back, they're a decent guy. Then I've had a few drinks. You go, bit of a dick though, weren't I, at times? Bit of a shit. Looking back, you go, okay, we have finished 10th. We have had injuries, but then again, we did play shite against Wimbledon away in the cup. We did play diabolical against Everton at home recently, and it's all these little things. I'm thinking it's that little push that just does my head in, and maybe I am being too harsh on the team. Maybe I'm being too harsh on Pellegrini and the players, but for me, I feel like we've missed a massive opportunity, and that's the thing that really gets me. And I think it's just people accepting that really kind of gets me. I think as a fan base now, okay, West Ham have never won anything. We've never been very successful in long term, but I think we now need to go. No, hold on, we're not going to accept mediocrity. We want to push on. We want to be a top 6 club. I don't know if you feel next year we should try and push on, or if you'd accept the mid-table finish with a cup run. I don't know if that's what you want.
It's a difficult one. I feel I'm with you in everything you said. I think that the cup disappointment was a massive low light for me. As a West Ham fan, we always love a cup run, and the way we went out on an absolute whimper against Wimbledon was really disappointing. It was probably the lowest I've felt as a West Ham fan in the season. I'm sure we've had injuries. At the same time, I do feel as though 10th place slightly flatters us. I really do. I really do. I don't
Yeah.
think we were at any point brilliant this season. I think we're just up and down. And I've spoken to a lot of West Ham fans, and they seem to share the same sentiments as me. As it's just been an average season. In saying that, I've got to give Pellegrini the benefit of the doubt. It's his first season at the club. I do believe he's done well in the transfer market. He's brought in some players. You look at Diop,
Yeah.
Anderson, Fabianski, brilliant signings. They're going to be massive for us going forward. And I just think now, after a transfer window, if we can get a few decent lads through the door, we've got to look to improve on 10th place. I think anything less than 10th place would be a disappointment. So I think Pellegrini's got to be aiming for the Europa League places, nothing less.
Well, fingers crossed that your predictions kind of come true, because I think that the very least we should be trying for next season, like the bare minimum, should be a Europa League place, and everything else around that can come with it. And if we're just talking about transfer windows and bringing players in, breaking news today that West Ham have accepted a £3 million deal for Reece Oxford to go permanently to Augsburg, if I say the club's name in Germany. Um, People didn't know about that. So for me, that's getting a young lad who, had all the potential in the world and hasn't really kicked on since his first few appearances at West Ham. Finally gets him off the books. It's 3 million, in the account. What do you think about that? Do you think we should have got more for that, or do you think it's just good to get him out of the club?
Oh, mate, it's a real shame, I must say, because when I watched Reece against Arsenal when he made his debut and
Yeah.
had Özil in his pocket, I thought, I mean, we've probably got one of the brightest young talents in Europe. I really thought of him that highly. Unfortunately, and people can say the same about Ravel Morrison, I believe that attitude's a problem. And at the end of the day, football managers are not going to model players that have egos. And I feel like Reece Oxford is one of those players. 3 million, I still feel that's a bit low. As far as I know, he's done all right in Germany when he went on loan, and last season he was decent as well. So I think 3 million for someone of his age is a little bit low. At the same time, I feel like West Ham are a bit fed up and just want to get him off the books, to be honest, because he was a phenomenal talent. I'm not sure how far he will go, but at the end of the day, it's just a real shame because I think he had so much potential. I mean, looking at that Arsenal game, I really thought we had a real talent. What are your thoughts? Do you think 3 million is decent for him?
I like I said in the group chat, I think I'm surprised he got that much for him, because I think it was one of those where, yeah, okay, he's English, he's young talent, but where has that talent been for the last 3 or 4 years? Since that game against Ozil. And then thinking about it now, Ozil's not even that much of a player on form at the minute.
Yeah.
That's probably the start of his downfall as an Arsenal player, because I think it was in the next game against Leicester that Oxford wasn't really with it, or the fans were saying, well, he had a great game, but he's not been quite at it in this one.
Yeah.
A lot of the youth coaches have said that he just weren't. He didn't want to be at West Ham. He preferred to go Germany. So do you know what I say in the long run? I'm not personally that bothered about it. I'd like, 3 minutes is great. See you later. Have a good life.
Yeah.
Have a good career.
I agree, mate. I don't want those type of players at the club. I really don't. I think they're toxic. Rather get them out. I know in this day and age with money, do you really believe that a player really wants to be playing for West Ham? That's the question that you have to ask. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have players that want to be pushing for a spot. And I just think Reece wanted out. So get rid of
Yeah.
him. See
Well,
you,
that's the
mate.
thing. You say about modern football about wanting to play for West Ham. Like, as a business acumen, no, you wouldn't, because
Yeah.
we're in a great stadium, we've got great potential, but right now we're not really, because the Premier League tag holds a lot, but unless we're going for things, unless we're trying to achieve something, unless we're in Europe, then we're not really much of a glamorous club for a player to go to, unless we're going to pay him big bucks. And then of course you've got the thing of, well, is he just here for the money and not to try and achieve anything at West Ham? Because I've given up what the players caring about West Ham anymore. I just want them to come in and do the job they're paid to do, and as long as they do that, then that's up to them.
Yeah.
But talking about players who don't want to be at the club and do want to be at the club, certain Mr. Mark Noble. over the last few games has almost resurrected his career out of nowhere, and is the captain fantastic. I think we all want him to be, and know he can be. Next year, do you think he'll carry this form on, or do you think that we're buying new players, buying the system will might play if his age catches up with him? Do you think he's going to have as much of an impact next season? Because let's face it, a lot of us thought that this year Wilshere would be taking his place.
Yeah.
He's been injured, and it's only really this last 3 games he's really come to the top. So, what's your opinions on Mark Noble?
I really hope he continues the form. I'm one West Ham fan that has to hold my hands up and say that
Same here. Yeah.
Earlier, a few seasons ago, I said that he'd probably run his race at West Ham, and it's because I'd seen games where perhaps the game had passed him by, but somehow he just keeps managing to grind out performances out of nowhere, and I take my hat off to him. I really have the utmost respect for Mark Noble because of how he conducts himself. I think he's a fantastic leader. And you know what? If next season he continues his form, play him 100%. If at any point Pellegrini feels his legs are going, then let him take a slight back seat and give a youngster a chance to play in his place and bring him in, because I know Mark Noble's a champion in the dressing room. He's the type of man you want in and around the youngsters. He's a great leader. So, yeah, he's definitely going to play a part. How big it is, I'm not too sure. If he keeps up his form, play him. If not, give him a slight back seat. But I really have to hold my hands up and say, well done, Mr. Mark Noble, because he's been excellent the last 3 or 4 games of the season. So, yeah, I take my hat off to him for that.
One stat that's been coming up recently is that he's been used by, since he got into the West Ham team, really, he's been used by practically every single manager the West Ham have had. And we've had quite a few since he made his first appearance for West Ham. Now, does that say more about him as a player? Does that say more about the club that we can't find anyone to A, fill his shoes, or B, capable of, more ability, if you get what I mean? Like, we haven't signed anyone that's gone, no, Noble, love you, mate, but you're not getting in past him. Because he hasn't been out of the team, really. This is he keeps getting in there, but it's a wonder, like, why? Is it something we're doing wrong, or is it something that Noble just keeps that consistency up?
I think I take my hat off to Pellegrini because he's kept faith with Noble. At times this season, Noble was poor, genuinely poor, and Pellegrini's stuck by him and let him lead the side. I think when managers come into West Ham, especially foreign managers that want to learn about the club, there's no better man to chat to than Mark Noble. And I feel like managers will use Mark Noble as the focal point of the club. And if they have the chance to play him, they will at every opportunity, because they know that he connects so well with the fans. And if he's performing well, genuinely the team performs well. So yeah. I definitely think we've got the talent for someone to step in. I really do. I think there's youngsters in there, and the likes of Deckers, who's done excellently well. With the talent's there. But I just feel like managers come in knowing that he is Mr. West Ham. And he connects so well with especially the younger players. You look at the likes of Declan Rice, all the youngsters coming through. They absolutely adore Mark Noble. So I think he's just a good lad to have in and around the club, regardless of whether he's playing well or not. He's just someone that needs to be there.
Yeah, he's, like you say, all the things you say is correct about Mark Noble, and that's another reason why he's so influential and pretty so crucial to West Ham, no matter what happens. But moving on from that, we're linked with Ceballos. I think that's the way you say his name, from Real Madrid. Which, as big as that sounds, he's apparently not getting the chances that he would prefer, and we're being linked with him for £20 million. Do you know much about him? Do you think he'd be a good addition to the club?
To be honest with you, I don't know a huge amount about him. I know he's a centre midfielder, youngster. As you say, he hasn't been getting as much game time as he would like. So there's definitely potential there, maybe an investment for us. If the scouts see potential and a chance for him to make it at West Ham, then I'd certainly go for it. I feel like we are a bit short in the middle of the park. As much as I love Declan Rice and Mark Noble, I think Obiang's time at the club could be up. So it's definitely a position. It's definitely a position we've got to be looking at strengthening for next season. So I think we'll definitely see a midfielder come through the door. And he could definitely be one of them. 20 million. Are we willing to spend that much? I personally think it's a difficult one. I still don't actually know how much money we're going to spend in this coming window. I've seen 5 or 6 different numbers. So I'm hoping,
as always.
I'm hoping and praying that there will be funds for Pellegrini to invest, because unfortunately, for a project to work, you have to have steady investment over a number of years. You can't just spend 100 mil in one season and then hope that everything's going to fall into place. So we've got to capitalize and spend money again. Else we're just going to stagnate, really. But in going to one thing, and another one of my lowlights of the season was the Marko Arnautovic scandal. Firstly, what did you make of that? Sorry to go a bit off topic.
No, mate, go for it.
What did you make of that? And what are your thoughts on how Pellegrini handled the situation?
Personally, I've lost all my love, my adoration for Arnautovic, and I've lost all emotion. For me, if you're going to play, then just do your job and do it really well, which he's been doing, for the last 3 games, like Noble has as well himself. I don't really care about. I've given up caring about his situation. I didn't want to see him in West Ham shirt ever again. I still don't really, to be honest with you. I've realised now the professionalism comes into it, where you go head over heart. Is he better than what we've got up front in a minute? But he's better than Perez, so he's definitely getting me over him. He's a different player to Hernandez, so the whole team doesn't have to change their whole system for him. And there's a part of me that thought, it still kind of thinks that if you get an offer from, doesn't even have to be from China, just to be from somewhere, I doubt they're going to pay him anywhere near the 400 grand that was quoted in January. But it is what it is, Rich. I can moan about it to the cows come home. If he's going to stay next year, then I just hope that he does the job and doesn't start moaning, doesn't get injured, and actually just starts to bang the goals in and keeps up his form from last season and in the early part of this season as well. So it is what it is, mate. And I think his contract is minimum 45 million to a quiet clause, and if we get that, we get that. But if not, then fuck it. Basically, it's what it is.
No, I agree with you, mate. I really do. I've also lost my respect for him. I must be honest. I've never really bought into the whole crossed hammers, tap the badge. It's all a load of rubbish. But I share the same sentiment as you, in that if he gets his head down and does the job, head over heart, at the moment he is the best forward at our club. If he's banging in the goals, then I'm all for it. But he has 100% lost all my respect. I'll be honest. Last season he was probably my favorite player. Yeah. Right now he's probably my least favorite player at the club. So
it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing.
It's crazy how times change, and I do think that in the past players like that would have trodden over the likes of Slaven Bilic, but I feel like Pellegrini kind of said to him, "Listen, you're going to sit on the bench until you get your act together," and he kind of put him on the bench for a couple of games and slowly got him back into it after the whole scandal, because there's no doubt about it. It derailed our season.
Yeah, it did, and I think the big telling thing was maybe like we just talk about Noble being Mr. West Ham, him bringing him over to the West Ham fans against Tottenham and just like making him go in front of them and letting them clap. And I don't agree with singing his name really, because it's a bit like, are we really going to let him in that much? But if you're going to accept him back, then hopefully it gives him more motivation to do well for us. But it's never going to go back to the way it was. And if he stays, just hopefully he gets his head down and produces, and then maybe, I don't know, fucks off in about half a year or a year, and he gets an offer from Blackburn Rovers, something like that, something along them lines. But another player that's been leaked away in the last couple of days is Masuaku. Now, as we both know, our group chat divides opinion at the best of times.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the guy has got huge potential on the left wing. Doesn't look like he's going to get much of a chance over there. And while Creswell's injured, we haven't got a replacement left back. He's going to be the mainstay at the moment. So, how much would you sell him for if you would sell him? And would you keep him? Would you think would you keep him solely as a left back, or would you try and make him more of a left wing back?
Well, okay. So first of all, I'm as much as I believe Masuaku struggles defensively. I'm Team Masuaku. I must be honest.
Boy.
I think the amounts that I've seen him improve in the second half of the season has been phenomenal. And Pellegrini's no idiot. He
Mm.
obviously sees potential in him to continuously playing at left back and have the faith in him. I've honestly seen his defensive ability improve. We all know how good he is going forward. If he could just improve his final ball, I
Yeah.
genuinely believe he could be lethal on the left hand side. And I know a lot of West Ham fans that share the same views as me. I know a lot of West Ham fans that disagree with me. That's the beauty. But I genuinely believe if we were to sell him, people are quoting 6 million. We would not be able to get someone better that could play on the left hand side. I don't believe so. For me, I'd keep him. He can only improve. He's still a youngster. Let's not forget that he's still a youngster. I think, what
Yeah.
is he? 23,
20,
24?
I think he's about 24 now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got tons of time to improve. So
Mm.
even if he's not starting, just keep him in the squad. I genuinely, and people might give me stick for this. I'm Team Masuaku. I just am.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I just saw a lot of, there's a few video clips and stuff, and montages that are going on Twitter that are seen. You just see that he's got it in him to be a fantastic player going forward. But for me, he's an atrocious left back. I've got no confidence in him in defence wise, but he has shown massive glimpses, going forward. And I think hopefully if West Ham could try and unlock that, if they're not going to sell him, but 6 million seems a bit low for me. I think more sort of
Yeah,
maybe 9, 10, 11 million, say.
yeah.
Might being a bit too generous, I don't know. Um, but talking of wide men, uh, Felipe Anderson is a player for me who has been ridiculously inconsistent this season.
Yeah.
Nothing against the guy. He's worked hard this season. He's not, he's always been in the team. He's definitely got potential to be a massive game changer. All the rest of it, but I, I must have lost count the amount of times where on Saturday against Watford, he does something good and then does something bad, does something good and does something bad, and it's back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, it's, I don't even know if it's just him trying to do the Hollywood stuff and not
Yeah.
carry it out, but someone needs to grab him by the scuff and just say, look, you are a good fucking player. We paid that for you. Let's get the good out of you. I mean, what do you think of Dev Anderson? Do you think that he's been a bit hard done by this season with some of the criticism he's got, or do you think the next season's going to be his breakout season?
I think the criticism is justified. I do because he has been extremely inconsistent,
Yeah.
and I can say that because we've generally watched every game and we've studied West Ham, and I generally believe he's been inconsistent. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. It is his first season, and I do believe he's done well to score the amount of goals he's had and get the amount of assists. He's got the stats behind him, that's for sure. But he needs to turn it on and be more consistent. If you're looking at someone with a price tag of in excess of 40 million pounds, you at the end of the day you got to start playing more consistently. And I pull my hair out because I see him do fantastic things, score fantastic goals, and then I see him give the ball away 5 or 6 times when it's a
Yeah,
5 yard pass. So yeah, I think he's a brilliant representation of our season. Just
yeah,
completely inconsistent. You never really knew what West
yeah,
Ham was going to turn up at any point, and it's the same with Anderson. You really didn't know whether he was going to have a blinder or a shocker.
yeah.
So hopefully, fingers crossed for next season. I have every faith in him that he's got the ability to be the consistent player we need in that wide area. And also he's got potential. He's still young, so he's definitely an asset to us.
You saying that he's the thingy of our season, that kind of says a lot. Spent a lot of money, and he's doing here and all there, but he still scored a lot of goals in a season that he struggled with. And every time I
Yeah,
see him get the ball, I would go a bit like on the edge of my seat, going, "Oh, right, what's he going to do here?" Half the
yeah.
time I'm going, "Oh yeah, nice one." And half the time I'm going, "Oh, what the fuck was that?" But talking of buying players for 40 million, one of our best signings this season, or some of our best signings this season, cost just 4 and 7 million in Balbuena and Fabianski. And for me, if we're talking inconsistency, those two have been the most consistent.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Balbuena had a lengthy injury for a while this season, which robbed him out. And his namesake partner, Diop. was cost about, I think, about 16 million, did he, or 20 million, 20,
Yeah, 20.
20, yeah, it's about 20 million, yeah. So that's quite a lot of money on him as well. But that nucleus at the back is going to be, you know, really something to look for next season, including the fact that Frederick seems to be getting better and better and better, which can only be
Yeah.
a good thing. Hopefully, he stays fit. Do you think that it's kind of a stupid question, but do you think that Fabianski deserved Harry of the Year, and do you think that those three at the back, that triangle of players, is going to be perhaps what keeps us successful if we do become successful at all next year?
Absolutely. Firstly, 100,000,000,000% he deserved Ham of the Year.
Yeah,
He was my player of the year by far this season. What an unbelievable season he had. I'm biased, but I genuinely believe he was the best keeper in the Premier League this season. I genuinely do. I thought he was fantastic. An
big shout.
absolute steal at 7 million for someone of his caliber. The way he's played this season, that is probably the best business we've done. In terms of
It certainly is.
Balbuena at 4. I mean, also unbelievable signing, absolutely unbelievable. Such a shame about his injury. I still can't believe we got him for 4 million. I mean, captain of Corinthians. That's a huge caliber type of player. We got him for 4, absolute steal. Issa Diop, I can understand why we paid the 20 mil. Of course, he's still young. He has mistakes in him. He wasn't perfect this season, but I
Yeah.
saw enough to tell me that he is going to be monumental for us in the next season. And Ryan Fredericks at right back has just steadily improved. I think
Mm.
he's been really excellent the last couple of games. To get him on a free from Fulham, I didn't really know what to expect from him. I know he'd had a blinder in the Championship, but it's never easy for players to make the step up. And he found it a bit tough at the beginning, I'll be honest. But he's someone that I really respect because he got his head down and he's steadily improved game by game. Unfortunately, he picked up a slight injury against Watford, so hopefully that's not
Mm.
too serious and he can get back. But I think Fredericks, Balbuena, Diop, and Fabianski, that's going to be 4 key men next season for us. I really do.
Well, it's funny because I mean, obviously, I totally agree. I think Neop was inconsistent at some point this year. That's why he got
Yeah.
dropped. But then again, he had Ogbonna next to him, who isn't, according to people who sort of know in and around the team, he isn't the most vocal of players, and he has to get talked through most games himself.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, just quickly, do you think Ogbonna will stay for next year, or do you think he'll be sold? Not taking
Um,
into account the arguments that Stell and Anton are having on a daily basis, but yeah,
it's a difficult one, mate. I personally think he'll stay.
yeah.
Um, I think there's more chance of Winston Reid, for example, going. I just think as much as Reid's been an excellent player for us, his injury record is just atrocious. And it's those type of players, as much as I love them, that we need to be shipping off, unfortunately. And Ogbonna, as I don't think he's a starter. Whether he's happy to stay as someone that will come off the bench for the last 10 minutes to shore up games is a question in itself. But I
Mm.
think Ogbonna's been solid enough this season. I don't think he's been awful. I think he's been okay. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been awful. I think he's had a steady season. So I can't really fault him all that much. So it's just
Mm.
a question about whether Ogbonna's going to want to stay. Personally, what
Yeah,
what are your
good.
thoughts? Do you think he'll stay, mate?
I think he'll stay unless we get a really, really good offer from, say, an Italian club that has been linked to Roma before, and possibly even a return to Juventus. But I can't see that be happening with the caliber of the players that they've got at the moment. But I think he's a bit here and there. I think he can be really, on his day, he can be a top defender, and at times he did save us on his own at the back last year. And he scores a few goals from corners and something else as well. So he's got it in him to be a very good player. But I think he's a little bit weak-minded. Say he needs to be coached through
Yeah.
games, stuff like that. But talking of players who the decent accommodations on very little money, considering Premier League money. I've been one of those that have advocated to spending loads of money in the window because I think that the owners scrimp and save and don't spend enough, anywhere near enough. I think there's a lot of money in the bank that they're not telling us about, and all this 25, 30 million stuff.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical. I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist like that. I don't really believe that is what we actually got available. It's just what they want to spend because they think the players got players and wages are going to be going. But if we can sign players of the ilk of Balbuena and Diop and Fabianski, etc., I'm not bothered about us not spending 50, 60 million on one player.
Yeah.
You know, if we can bring in players of a decent caliber, then I'm all willing to go. Do you know what? Don't worry about spending 100 million again this summer. Just get in the players that are going to be good for the team at a decent price. And I think Spurs, I know I hate to use them as an example. I think Spurs have been doing that for the last couple of years. They didn't even spend any money this summer, and look where
Yeah.
they've got.
Yeah.
So, do you want to? Would you like us to spend? You know, I'm gonna use the term spend well rather than spend frivolously, because would you rather West Ham just went, do you know what? Here's another 100 million. Let's chuck out the money at some players, or do you think would you go, look, here's 30 million. Here's what you can get out of the players and the deadwood already going, and try and get what you can. Do you think we'll have it just as well next season? Do you think we'll bring in the players we did this summer?
I don't think we'll spend as much. Firstly, I know the money's there.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. The money's there. I read an article about how David Sullivan's
Yeah.
worth has increased by some astronomical number. It's just going in his pocket. It's a load of crap. But anyway, that's a debate for another time.
Do you know what he is? He's like a little Cockney-looking leprechaun, like a pot of gold, but he won't let you get near it.
Oh, it's mad.
Never
It's mad.
that was a terrible. What did I do that for?
We need to spend money. We really do. I want us to. I really hope and dream that we go half leather in the transfer market. I do believe by getting the likes of Carroll off our books, it's going to definitely free up some wages, because I think that was our major stumbling block. We have some of the most expensive wages in the whole league. You look at some of the wages we're playing some of our players.
Just quickly on that before I forget, Hernandez. Would you like him to be sold to free up wages, or do you think he's worth hanging on to next year?
Nah, I'd sell him. I appreciate what he's done for the club, but I just think that he's the type of player we've got to be shipping off. I haven't seen enough consistency from him. When he does play, he does score the odd goal every now and then. Fair play, he's a fox in the box, but I just think he's not the type of player we have to be looking for next season. We've got to be looking for Mitrovic type mold bastard strikers that are just going to bulldoze and get the job done.
Gomez could be coming still.
Gomez is a great shout. He's someone I'd love for us to get in. I just think in the deepest of my heart that Chicharito is going to be surplus to requirements, and I personally would get rid of him. As much as I like him, I would get rid of him. That'd just be my choice. I just think there's better out there for us.
Sorry, I interrupted you about spending the money. Sorry, carry on with that.
Oh yeah. I really hope we spend money. I don't think we'll spend near as much as we spent last season. But I know the money's there. If we can get players in like Fabianski, Balbena, and Diop, then that would be fantastic. I mean, massive respect to whoever decided to bring those players in. I know Pellegrini had a say in a lot of them. Massive respect. If we can pull off that again in this window, I can only dream of where we'll finish. We've got to imagine we could pull off those type of coups in the attacking positions. Imagine we got a striker in at that price that just tore the Premier League shreds. That's all we're missing. We're missing 2 or 3 players. I mean, at the same time, let's not forget Jack Walsh has come back and he looked sharp as hell against.
He does. Yeah.
It looked like he'd never been injured. So that's another player. Yarmolenko's not far away. Yeah. We have got a bloody good squad. I'm not going to lie. We have got a bloody good squad. So I honestly think 3 or 4 decent players through the door and we will be knocking on Europa League. I really do.
And this is the scary thing. If we do achieve anything like that, finishing high up in the league, maybe having a cup run, this, that, and the other, imagine the players we could attract in.
Yeah,
we're just in the Premier League right now. We're just a Premier League team. We're not. Yeah. There's nothing. Got a big stadium and all that, but to players that don't mean nothing. They wouldn't mind playing in front of 10,000 as long as they're getting £100 a week. So that says a lot to the direction that West Ham should be going. And if we do get a return, we'll get. We're going to move slightly on, unless there's anything you want to talk about with the team, what they've achieved this year. Because I could talk about the cup runs, but to be honest with you, it was a little bit. You go from beating Macclesfield 8-0 at home. I know they're top of the league too, but you go from that to losing in the cup away to Wimbledon, who'd already beaten earlier on in the League Cup anyway. So hopefully we go a bit further in the league next year. But
I really hope for a cup run. I think
yeah,
us as fans, we deserve a cup run. Come on, man, we'll get your shit together. Let's have a cup run. Let's get to Wembley for fuck's sakes. Come on,
I
please.
something I don't understand, which wasn't kind of brought up at the time, but when we played Tottenham at home in the League Cup, we got the goal back to make it 2-1,
Yeah,
and we were looking. We had the momentum with us. We would go up, and these two fans run out onto the pitch, and it completely threw the whole West Ham defence, and it was like
yeah,
no
I
one
remember that.
and I've still got no idea what. I know obviously it was a big occasion. Obviously the atmosphere must have been brilliant. I wasn't there that night particularly, but I've been there for every other West Ham home game. But um, I don't get why that's not been made more of by fans. It's like, we possibly could have got a draw out of that and then gone on to win it and go through and no one's saying anything. But those fans need to hang their heads in shame and realise that they've fucked that they've fucked that up completely. It was a stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's still I still don't understand why they do it to this day. But anyway, moving on. It is the end of the season. All games are done. And everyone's kind of in good spirits at the minute because it's, everyone's sort of looking forward to next season. Uh, what are your predictions for? I don't know. Let's say, for example, we bring all the players. Where would you like to see West Ham? First of all, your unrealistic prediction, and then your realistic prediction for next season.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. I think we have to improve on 10th place. I think that has to be a prerequisite. For me, anywhere below 10th it would be unacceptable. I think at a push, we have got to be taking the Europa League chase to at least the last few games. We have to be in the running for Europa League for me. That's something I believe we have the potential to do. We have the squad, we have the manager. That's got to be a target. So for me, I want to see us finish in the Europa League places so that we can have a go in the Europa League, not so that we can lose to Gugu or whatever. Gugu, a bunch of Romanian farmers. Yeah, we have to. The whole point of us getting into Europa League is so we can have a go. So I want us to go hell for leather to get into Europe. We have the ability to do that. And then once we're in Europe, let's actually make a go of it and put our best side out. Even if we get into the qualifiers, let's have a go at it. So for me, has to be European football. It has to be. I mean, we've got the platform now, 10th place finish. We're only 5 points off Wolves. And for me, you look at some of the decisions that gone against us this season, some lackluster performances, those 5 points we could have easily made up. And every single time we had a chance to get into 7th place, we bottled it. So we have to have that big game mentality. The players need to believe that they've got the quality to get into Europe. And for me, as I've said, 3 or 4 players to the door. There's no reason why we can't come top 8. So I think for me, top eight would be acceptable. And at a push, let's make Europe. What are your thoughts? What would you deem a decent season?
Right. Well, for me, a decent season means qualifying for Europe.
Yeah.
That is my minimum thing now because I've got this sort of chip on my shoulder with the owners. I'm never going to like them, never going to respect them anymore. For me, they've dug their hole where that's concerned with me. I'm sure that's going to affect them. How can they sleep at night knowing that I don't like them? But I think that being where we are in that stadium, the whole reason why we moved was to become a successful club, just like kind of all the others in the league that are going that way. And I want. I don't care if it's Europa League. I'll take Europa League. That's fine. That's kind of all we can expect right now. Try and finish in the top 5. Top 5 is an unrealistic prediction. Top 7 is my realistic prediction because we had a chance to go there a few times this summer and stay there. Didn't do it. My unrealistic hope is if we get through to a cup final.
Please, yeah.
I'm not saying.
I agree. I should have said that. I want a cup run. I agree with you, mate.
I couldn't even imagine what it's like to witness us lift the trophy. Because the closest we ever got was against Liverpool, and it's still hard. It still breaks my heart to this day that we didn't do it. But fair play, Gerard. He done the biz for them. But
Yeah.
I'd like us to go on a cup run, and I'd like to actually make a good go of it, and not have any fans on the pitch making our players lose concentration and going out that way. So yeah, spend some decent money, get some decent players in. promote the youth as has been doing this year. We might even get to see 5 minutes of Nathan Holland next season, maybe even Zander Silva a bit more. So dreams
Hopefully,
do
yeah.
come true. Hopefully next season for the youth academy. Maybe even see a bit of Nathan Trott if now that Adrian's probably going.
Yeah.
Just quickly on that, there's two players that could be leaving this summer. One's definitely is and looks definitely like he is. Adrian, what's your opinion of him, and what's your best memory of him?
Wow, what a loyal, fantastic lover of our club. Honestly, I have the utmost respect for him. Um, I think he's conducted himself absolutely phenomenally. Even when he's been dropped to the bench, he's got his head down. He's never sulked. Imagine Arnautovic. Compare him to Arnautovic. It's chalk and cheese.
I think,
Adrian,
do you know what? Honestly, I think that Adrian must be sitting on that bench going, wish I was bloody playing. And then sees Fabianski and goes, actually, you know what, mate, you're right, you can stay in there.
yeah,
I'm,
literally.
I'm getting paid to sit here on the bench, and I
yeah,
don't want to make a mug out of myself by not doing as well as you are. So, as was
yeah,
proved in the Cups. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Nah, so I mean, he's off. There's no doubt about it. And from the bottom of my heart, I would genuinely wish him the very best. And I only have good things to say about him. For me, he's been a phenomenal servant to the club. I love him. I know all the fans do. My favorite memory of Adrian is one. It stands out, and it will always be one of my favorite memories of him is when the penalty shootout against
Yeah.
Everton,
I know
where
what
he
you're going to
takes
say.
off his
That's mine as
gloves.
well.
And he just runs up and slots it and doesn't the knee slide. Oh, what a fantastic moment. Yeah, so I'll never forget him. He's been fantastic for us. So, yeah, I genuinely wish him all the best.
I think my other little memory of him was I think we played Tottenham at home when Lanzini scored 1-0 in the new stadium, and he got the ball towards the end of the game, and just laid like that, like posing on the
Yes.
on the pitch, and I just thought that's just
Yeah,
classic. That's classic
yeah,
Adrian. It's brilliant.
brilliant.
I'll always
He's
love
a
him. I'll
proper
always wish him the
character,
best.
proper
Yeah.
character.
Unfortunately, he's not anywhere near. He hasn't been anywhere near Fabianski's credentials this season, which means that if we are going to bring in a new goalkeeper, it needs to be up there with Fabianski's talent. I know it's a tough ask, but that's what's going to happen. But fair play to AD. But Mr. San Miguel, I'll have a pint in your name. Come when
100%.
I hear about your new club, just as a celebration. But good luck to you. But the other one is Robert Snodgrass. Now I love him to bits. I think he's a top bloke. Unfortunately, it looks like he's probably not going to be included next year. Maybe kept on as a squad player at the most. But he's done well this season. He's not pulled up any trees. He's
Yeah.
scored a few goals here and there. He's been a good bloke in behind the scenes. I reckon all the Rice certainly gets on well with him very much. Would you like to see Snodgrass kept on, or would you like to say, you know what, time's up?
I absolutely adore him. I absolutely love his work ethic, the way he conducts himself. He's the type of player that makes me proud to support West Ham because I just know that he gives 1,000% every single game. I know talent-wise, he's not at the same level as a lot of players in our squad, but at the end of the day, you know what you're going to get from him, and that's 100% effort. So if Pellegrini does deem him surplus to requirements, again, I wish him the very, very best because he's always conducted himself brilliantly. I genuinely think he's had a decent season, and he's actually got a lot of game time. You look at the amount of games he's played. Pellegrini trusts him, but I do believe that he won't play a massive role. If he does stay on next season, he'll be a squad player at best, and I'm not sure if he's going to want that. Perhaps he'll drop down to a championship club and be their star player, or go to a new promoted club and be their number 10. But yeah, I can only speak good stuff about Robert Snodgrass. I think he's an absolute top geezer. The players love him. He's another player in the dressing room that I can just imagine is such a great guy to have around. So yeah, it will be sad to see him go because he's the type of player that I love to watch because of how hard he works, and I think a lot of players can learn from him. I think there's a lot of egos and a lot of players that are just happy to throw their toys out the cot when the going gets tough, and a lot of people can learn from him. If he has surplus to requirements, all the best. If he stays on, I'll be delighted, and yeah, hopefully he can play a part as a squad player. I definitely don't think he'll start many games.
Yeah, I totally echo your sentiments completely. I'm right up there with your opinion. I think also one thing has to be praised for is the fact that he come back to the club after he could have basically given, sorry, excuse me,
No worries, mate.
Two fingers to come after what the owners come out and said in the press, and they just tried to mug
Absolutely.
him off. But I think the fans rallied round him and said, "Look, that's out of order." And he really did just said, "Right, that's it. I'm going to make a go of my career at West Ham," and he's done really well considering this summer, this season, sorry. And if he does go, just like Adrian, wish him all the best. And hopefully he comes out of it well. Last player we shouldn't really forget, the last couple is Lanzini and Antonio. Antonio's really come out of his leaps and bounds last 4 or 5 games, particularly, especially against Tottenham. Do you think that, first of all, Antonio? I mean, if we do, get some more recruits in the summer, do you think he'll keep his place, or do you think he'll do what he always does, which is just sort of push his way into the first team? Every single summer he seems to do it.
Yeah, I think he's had a fantastic end to the season. Another player that's really improved towards the back end of the campaign. So I really do respect him for that. He's another one of those players that can frustrate me immensely at times, because at one moment he'll bang a ball in from 30 yards, the next moment he'll hit Rosette or hit it out the stadium. He's that type of player. So he's extremely frustrating, but he's another one of those players that is going to give 100%, and he will run through a wall for you. He's a machine, absolute machine. Again, he's not the greatest technically, but I definitely think he will stay on, first of all, next season. And I think he will probably keep his place. If he has a decent preseason, I don't see why he won't start at the beginning of next season. He's another player for me.
You don't need to be technically gifted to smash the ball in the back of Tottenham, isn't it? Which is exactly what he'd done. Get on the boy.
Get in! Yeah, buzzing. What a finish.
Yeah, and I love the geezer as well. I'm totally there with you. I think that hopefully next year it'll push him on. If they do buy better players, he does push him on to show that no, I'm still here. I'm still a decent player. I still do a job for you, as he always does. But the other player who's just come back from injury, Lanzini. I personally think he's done all right. I think he's done nothing wrong. He hasn't. I think he hasn't scored or something yet, but I think he's definitely created a load of chances. He's definitely been thereabouts. Yeah, of course it was. Yeah. Sorry, that's me forgetting bad memory there. What do you think of Lanzini? Do you think he'll push on next summer, or do you think he's got to start? I mean, he's been inconsistent himself, really, for at times in every season, more or less. But he's still got it in to be a top player, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to take into account he has just come back from a serious knee injury, which is, you never see players come back straight away. I still think he's gonna have to have a massive preseason just to get him back to fitness. He's nowhere near the level he can be at. But as you say, I don't think he's done much wrong. He's definitely not at the level that he can really be at in terms of potential. But he's a fantastic player. I mean, and we just need to make sure we wrap him up in cotton wool, bubble wrap, and just make sure we get him back to his best. Give him a nice, solid preseason to make sure that knee's sorted. And when he's back to full fitness and form, I mean, he'll slide straight back into our side. I have no doubt about that. So yeah, I'm actually genuinely excited to have a fully fit Manuel Lanzini back at the club, because when he's on it, I mean, he's an absolute joy to watch. Yeah. He's the type of player that I'd pay money week in, week out to watch. Just him. He's a fantastic player technically. At times, I believe, watching him, people do say he's lazy, and I can sometimes echo that, because sometimes I just see him walking around and I feel like he could run about a bit more. But in saying that, he's just come back from a knee injury. Let's give the lad the benefit of the doubt and give him a proper preseason before we judge. I think he'll come back strong next season, personally.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lanzini for me is like our Messi on his day. He glides past players on his day, and I think he's definitely one that, even if we do sign another top-notch players, he's going to be there or thereabouts. And he's not one of those players who just you go, right, we've got someone else now. You're on the bench. You'll be like, no, I'm better than that. So, and if he does, he probably even goes to Liverpool, Barcelona, like he's been linked with in the past. But yeah, no money from him in the end. But yeah, I mean, that's. I think we've practically covered all bases there, really. Cover next season. Is there anything else? Do you feel the need to say?
I just wanted to chat to you about one thing that it bugs me a bit. Is the whole Declan Rice thing. We all know.
I've said all that. I've forgot the one fucking player who. How could I forget? Deco.
Man like
But
Deckers, I mean, he has been world class. I can't love the kid more. I generally can't. But we've just signed. We've just got him to sign a new deal, and people are asking Pellegrini in press conferences whether we're willing to let him to sell him, and he's not shutting that out. Surely Pellegrini's got to be saying he's not going anywhere. We're building our club around him. He's the future of West Ham. He's our future captain. I know at the end of the day, every player has a price, but I feel like he's inviting offers by saying that. What are your thoughts? I think we've got
I
to hold
know,
on to him. He is the man.
I know. That's the thing. I think I forgot about him because it's like for me, it's just a given that everyone's going to say how good he is because he just is that you can't knock him. I think Pellegrini saying that is. I think Pellegrini doesn't bullshit. He doesn't do any PR. He doesn't do anything like that. I think he says it from the heart, and I actually
Yeah,
kind of prefer it that way. I prefer him to say it because as we all know, doesn't matter how gifted you are, doesn't matter how much of a you know crusted player you are. If the right offer comes in, he's off. And what happens is in especially in modern football, especially in the media, if you say he's not for sale, everyone takes it as a war cry of going, right, that just means you've got to offer loads more money for him then. And
yeah.
eventually they do go.
I hear you.
So maybe
Yeah,
saying that is going, right, it's reverse psychology. It's saying he isn't free, but I'm telling you he's free, but he isn't free. It'd be free to go because it's one of those things where it's like a lot of this media stuff is how you talk, is how you come across. It also depends how he said it in the interview. If he's gone, well, if the right offer comes in, or if he goes, if the right offer comes in, it'll be thought about. It's just different ways of saying it, different things coming out. Look. For me, Rice is staying this season.
yeah,
No means about it. There's no money this season that can prize him away. He wants to stay at the club. He's enjoying his time at the club. He's staying. The thing about West Ham is if they want to keep hold of him past next season, we have to achieve something. We have to look like we're going in the right direction. And if he
yeah,
still sees that we're not getting anywhere near Europe, we're still the same inconsistent club we are, he's going to go. No matter how
yeah.
much he loves the club, no matter how much he wants to do this and all that, career-wise, eventually you're going to go, nah, actually, do you know what?
To be fair to him, if we didn't achieve anything, and for example, City came in for him, I wouldn't stand in his way. I
Wouldn't
genuinely
begrudge him
think
at all.
I
Wouldn't begrudge him
genuinely
at all.
think he is that good that he could genuinely play for the best clubs in the
Yeah,
world. So
yeah,
for me, as much as it would hurt, at the end of the day, the lad's got to assess his career, and if he's got the chance to play for the best club under the best manager, I wouldn't stand in his way. But here's me hoping that next season, if we put in a good performance and if we finish highly and get some guys in the door, Deckers might be thinking, okay, there's a project here that I want to be a
yeah.
part of. So that's the real hope that I have. So time will tell. Time will only tell.
Yeah, that's Declan Rice to me is a fantastic. I can't knock him. There's nothing that's bad about him. With I know there was that whole thing about the tweet that he sent that's got a lot of people lost a thing, and obviously the Irish, now playing for England. But in the
Yeah,
day, even though he seemed like a very headstrong lad, that he's got his whereabouts, he's still a young lad. He's still
yeah,
19, 20
he's
years old. He's still just
he's a
coming through
youngster.
and getting used to professional football. So, you can dig out your old tweets, you can try and get anything you can off him, but he's just trying to do what's best for him. He hasn't been disrespectful to anyone. He's the nicest lad you can ever meet.
Yeah,
I know he's good friends with Baz Cox, who's very close with some of the players, and that if that bloke thinks you're a mug, he'll say it. He's got a lot of followers on social media and stuff like that. He'll tell you straight whether he's a dickhead or not. And he's not. And
yeah,
everyone can tell that he's got massive potential at West Ham. And for me, if we do start to try and achieve something, he'll definitely take over from the captaincy from Noble and be the
absolutely.
future cap of West Ham.
Yeah,
Um, but
he's going
yeah,
to captain
so
England, mate. He's going to captain England. I'm
yeah,
telling you now.
there's, there's,
Yeah,
there's, he's head and shoulders above a lot of players his age, and that says a lot, especially
yeah,
for a Premier League player and an international player.
yeah,
Um, But yeah, so I think that's everything really.
yeah. I
For
think we've
me,
covered pretty much everything.
a bullet point, a conclusion. Not a successful season, like people are saying. For me,
Yeah,
it's been very mediocre to non-successful. For a lot of people, this is kind of West Ham all over. Is that you finish mid-table and you have a cup run? They haven't really had a cup run this year. We've gone through a few rounds, but we've not really got that. We've had injuries. Pellegrini's first season, it hasn't been that poor, but it hasn't been that great either. It's been very, very mediocre. And I lost my rag with West Ham after we were losing 3-1 to Huddersfield at home. I walked out of the stadium. I didn't care because I was just like, I've had enough of this team, of having all the potential to go and get something and succeed in this season. It was probably a good omen that I left because we went into 1-4-3, so it was all good in the end.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you, mate. I was pulling my hair out as well.
I left and I'm going, well, do you know what? I'm a season ticket holder. If I'm going to go and pay my money to go and watch this club that I love, then just go without any real emotion, and just go. If they're going to be shit, they're going to be shit. If they're going to be good, they're going to be good. Just enjoy the ride. So hopefully that's all gone now. This season's done. That mentality is done with me now, and I'm hoping that if we have a great summer, that my positivity is renewed, motivation is renewed, and we go and actually do something. So fingers crossed as a West Ham fan. Yep. So is that all from you, Rich? Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think at the end of the day, it's been an average season. I'll be honest. In saying that, I think a 10th place finish is a decent platform, and we can only hope for the best going into next season. So yeah, let's keep the positivity going. Let's get some good guys through the door. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting shit with you for the whole season. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, you've been chatting shit. I don't know about me.
Shut up, you twat. I'm excited. I think